Trump promised your beef 25% cheaper. So far, that promise has nobody's name on it. If it's real, about $1.70 comes off every pound of mince you buy. Across a year of dinners, that adds up. Friday morning, Truth Social. For 90 days, foreign ground beef comes in with no extra tariff. 300,000 tons of it. That's about 7 quarter-pound burgers for every American. Then the sentence doing all the work. He says he has a commitment that this beef will be sold at 25% below current market prices. A commitment from who? The Post names nobody, and nobody has stepped up since. So cheaper where? Beef has 3 different prices before it reaches you. The dock price, the plant price, and the number on the packet in your hand. The Post just says beef. Newsweek listed it among the questions nobody would answer. Ground beef hit $6.89 a pound in July. You already knew that. You've watched it happen at the till, and your burger now costs half again what it did 5 years ago. In July, the AP and NORC asked Americans about their groceries. 4 in 10 said they're worried about affording them. In April, that was 2 in 10. So right now, in this country, a beef price is a political number, and beef runs deeper here than the meat counter. Here's what beef is to this country. Cattle is the biggest farm product America has, bigger than corn, bigger than soybeans. Cattle and calves bring in about as much money as corn and soybeans put together. Americans eat around 57 pounds of it each every year. Now the part nobody puts on a chart. This is a business made of small operations, and almost all of them are family-owned. The average American beef farm runs 47 cows. Over half keep fewer than 20. And between the last 2 farm censuses, 106,000 of those farms gave up beef cows completely. That's a way of life closing down, county by county. The average American farmer is 58 years old, so a beef price moves a lot of small, tired operations with it. And 10 months ago, the president told them exactly what moves it. 10 months ago, same man, same platform. Ranchers were furious about a deal letting in Argentine beef, so he answered them. His own words. The cattle ranchers who I love don't understand that the only reason they are doing so well is because I put tariffs on cattle coming into the United States. Tariffs are why you're rich. Then watch the year after. Last August, a 50% tariff lands on Brazilian beef, officially about a court case in Brazil, but he counted it as a cattle win. November, the White House quietly exempts beef from it. February, more Argentine beef waved through. And Friday, 300,000 tons and the tariff comes off. Trump's biggest beef is with his own tariffs. 25% below market. Somebody had to agree to that, or it's only a sentence. So who? ABC News found a White House official who said foreign exporters agreed, then wouldn't name one. CBS asked the same White House and got no reply. Australia's own cattle body told Beef Central it's still trying to find out if Australia is in this. And no rule was announced to make a shop pass the saving on. What a shop does with it is up to the shop. Say the beef ships anyway. Then that tariff had better be what's holding it back. Now the tariff he's lifting. It's called the out-of-quota tariff, an extra charge that kicks in once a country uses up its yearly allowance of cheap beef. CNBC asked Alton Kahlo, an economist who tracks the beef market for a living. Kahlo said that charge hasn't been a problem because a record amount is already coming in. They were paying the toll. They shipped anyway. Foreign beef is now more than 17% of America's supply, the biggest share on record. He's pulling down a gate people already walked through. Trump's biggest beef is with his own tariffs. So what actually lands? Kahlo again. What's coming is mostly frozen trimmings, the lean scraps that get ground into a burger. Frozen trim goes to industrial grinders and food service. That's a different road from the fresh case at your supermarket, and no economist has put a number on what this does to your shelf price. We went looking. So where does the cost actually land? On the rancher first. Rebuilding a herd works like this. You keep a young female instead of selling her. She earns you nothing for about 2 years until her first calf. Then another year or two before that calf is beef on a shelf. So you give up cash today. The money comes back in 2028. Drovers, the cattle trade paper, says that's the earliest this herd can grow again. Nebraska's Extension Service puts a young breeding female at around $4,500. That's the bet. For years, almost nobody could afford to make it. The Kansas City Fed measured what a drought does. Every step worse takes about a tenth off the hay crop and drives the price up. When you can't feed a cow through a dry summer, you sell her. And the cows you sell are the ones you breed from. Beef Magazine described families parting with genetics they'd spent decades building, gone in one season. Then this year, something moved. Ranchers kept back 4.7 million young females. First increase in 9 years. A whole industry quietly deciding to bet on the future again. Then Friday's Post landed, and it was their own president telling them the bet was wrong. And we already know how this goes. Last October, the White House let in more Argentine beef. The Farm Bureau's economist Daniel Munch tracked what happened next. The price a rancher gets for a live animal fell 13% inside a month. 13% off every animal he sells in the year he'd finally decided to hold some back. Nobody has published what that costs him per head. I looked. He knows, though, and your shelf price kept climbing. The cattlemen's chief Colin Woodall said flooding the market with government-subsidized, below-market beef is not the way to rebuild the American cattle herd. RCAF cheered his Brazil beef tariff last year. Now it's telling him to stop. Same group, opposite direction. Now the part where he's right. America really does need foreign beef to make a burger. Drovers ran the numbers on it. It takes about 7 pounds of imported lean trim to every pound of fatty American trim. Imports keep this whole thing working. Now look at the two sides. Against it, named economists, his own Republican senators, every rancher group in the country. For it, the president and White House officials who won't give their names. That's just the record. One ask. Subscribe, because Claim Check comes back on the date to see if this landed. And here's what should bother everyone. You're paying the most anyone has paid for a pound of mince on record. The rancher watched his prices fall the morning of the post. The Meat Institute says the plants in between lose $200 to $300 a head. Nobody in this chain is getting rich. Everybody in it is getting squeezed, and the one promise meant to fix that has nobody's name on it. So the verdict in 2 pieces. The problem he describes checks out. Ground beef at a record, the herd at a 75-year low. All true. The fix is where it comes apart. No country behind it, no company behind it, and no rule making a shop pass anything on to you. So far it's a number in a post. And the tariff he's removing was a toll people were already paying in record amounts. So on the problem, checks out. On the promise, doesn't add up. Here's how you'll know. Ground beef was $6.89 a pound in July. That's the government's own figure. Take a quarter off and you get roughly $5.16. The 90 days run out on the 19th of November. He never said which price drops by a quarter, the dock, the warehouse, or your shop. So let's use yours. If it lands near $5 a pound, he was right. And we'll say so. If it's still near 7, you know what Friday was. Trump's biggest beef is with his own tariffs.